How are we doing, everybody? So, another installment of the video series of education. So, these are a little bit different, they're a little bit more in depth, and they're a little bit of a thank you for obviously paying attention to what we say because not many people listen to me, but you guys are taking the time to listen to me. So, today we are going to be talking about fasted exercise and exercising before breakfast, etc. Fasted cardio, fasted training. Is it superior? Does it work? What does it mean? So exercising before breakfast, is it superior? Fasting in general is an amazing tool for fat loss, not necessarily because it's superior in terms of what it does. However, it can be easier to adhere to in the long term, which sounds super boring because I say it all the time, but finding the right strategy for you is paramount in what we would do with you. And it's important that if you are using a coach or if you are eating a certain way, it has to support the way you work. So that is a little bit more of a different slideshow altogether. So what I'm going to talk to you today about is fasted cardio. It's super common. You might see that Instagram influencers are really big on pushing it. They're talking about getting, you see Dwayne Johnson getting up and doing his cardio, and then he goes and has his breakfast. It doesn't, they imply that it makes you super skinny, that it burns more fat. And I just want to highlight some of the reasons why that you might end up being misguided or misinformed, purely based on the science. So where does it come from? Since scientists have been studying metabolism, there have been thousands of studies looking into how what we eat changes the energy systems of our body. Numerous studies have shown that exercising in a fasted state increases the rate of fat oxidation during the exercise bout. These studies get picked up by popular media who have a hugely limited understanding of the science. And the headline will read, "Fastest exercise burns all your fat." And they are wrong. But this is how easily it gets perpetuated in the media. They pick out the snippet, the buzzwords, the clickbait titles that sell newspapers, that sell magazines, that make you click on it, that allow advertisements to get in front of you. And it's so easy because these are our insecurities and we're always looking for the easier way to do it, all right? So, yes, it is true that fasted exercise and fasted cardio will increase fat oxidation. However, that doesn't necessarily mean that you are burning more fat subcutaneously, all right? So your body primarily relies on two sources of energy throughout the day, fats and carbohydrates. At rest, so when you sat down, when you're not doing anything too strenuous, you are generally using more fats. Carbohydrates are the body's primary source of energy, and we tend to be able to use carbohydrates rapidly. So I think strenuous exercise, think walking, think lifting, think carrying, anything like that, we'll start to use carbohydrates. However, we do use both within a full 24-hour period. So when you start to exercise, there is an increased need for that fast supply of energy, so the proportion of carbohydrates which you burn increases relative to fat. When you are in a fasted state and you have not eaten a number of hours, so your carbohydrate stores are running low because we'll be using throughout processes of the body, we might have, start to use some of the stored carbohydrates. You are more inclined to use body fat, all right? So think through the night, what we'll generally use is fat stores and protein stores. The important point here is that you are not burning more energy. All right, so you may be using fat, however, you're still only using X amount of energy. So research studies have been conducted which asked two groups of people to do some cardio in the morning, one fasted and one with breakfast. After 4 weeks, this is super important, guys, so listen up. After 4 weeks, both groups of participants showed improved levels of fitness and significant weight loss. But there were no differenes in any markers between the groups. The authors of the study have concluded that the body composition changes were actually due to the increased aerobic activity rather than whether they were in a fasted state or a fed state, okay? So as long as your daily, weekly calories are equivalent to what we need for our fat loss, then you will lose the same amount of body fat, whether you do fasted cardio or fed cardio. Okay, so some people love it. Okay, some people love it. It makes them feel better. It makes them feel sharper. It's a personal preference. However, if you are someone that is doing it and feeling dizzy and tired, and it's, you know, you're getting up earlier and disrupting sleep to go and do it just because you think it's more of a fat loss tool, then you are, you know, shooting yourself in the foot. Really, you need to be able to improve sleep. You know, if that hour of sleep that you're missing in the morning because you're going and doing fasted cardio would help your appetite through the day, then it's not necessarily something that you would benefit from. Like I said, it is down to personal preference, all right? So, you know, if you prefer exercising before breakfast to avoid any stomach cramps, or, you know, if you feel sharper, if you feel a little bit more alert, which has anecdotal evidence, it is something that people are, you know, reporting and things like that. The important thing is that you do what suits you and your schedule. Like I said before, if you're disrupting sleep to get up early, and to do 45 minutes cardio on a cross trainer, and then you are ravenous because you are exhausted for the rest of the day, then it seems obsolete, you know, because if you're going to start then increasing your calories throughout the day because you're tired, then the fasted cardio seems pointless. Could you just peg 20 minutes on the back of your evening training session, or, you know, could you do keep your steps up throughout the day and make that more of a habit rather than getting up an hour earlier and going doing fasted cardio? Cardio training in general is a good addition to a healthy lifestyle, and it can be a nice way to get your day off to a good start. But could you make that family time instead of getting up and on a cross trainer and going for 45 minutes? Could you go for a walk with your kids? Could you walk your dog an extra time a day? All these types of things can be included into your daily schedule rather than, you know, using fasted cardio because you think it's superior to anybody else. It comes down to that personal preference point again. All right, so don't beat yourself up if you aren't doing it. You know, there's numerous amounts of people that I know that do not do any cardio and they are in incredible shape. You still have to make sure that you are maintaining as much muscle mass as possible at any point. So, you know, it comes down to the basics of calories, protein, protein feeding, sleep, resistance training, things like that. If you are wanting fat loss, then cardio is one addition to the fundamentals. It's not the be all and end all. You do not just do cardio when you want to get lean. If your protein is there and it's optimal and your calories are there, it's optimal, but it's not the be all and end all. Okay, it can just help speed things along, and can be a good way of letting you eat a little bit more food when you're in a dieting phase. All right, so please don't feel like you need to get out of bed to go do fasted cardio. If you prefer it, that's absolutely fine. I don't do it, but if you want to and you feel good doing it, then that's absolutely fine. It's just not superior. All right, guys, I hope that helps. If you have any questions whatsoever, give me a shout. All right, guys.